scientifically minded. So, I mean, I say it's a wormhole, but I actually don't know what a wormhole is.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week, Leo sent me Time Travel is Dangerous, and this 2024 film was directed by Chris Reading and stars Ruth Syratt, Tony Way, and Brian Bovell, among others, of course. So what is the story of Time Travel is Dangerous? Well, with this one, it follows these two idiot best friends as they run their thrift shop. So it's like a secondhand store, so its previously loved items are up for sale. And then one day they find this time machine out back, like in the trash. So they decide to start using the time machine to go back in time, get some items, and then bring them back to the present and sell them as vintage or historical or whatever it might be. And so they start doing that, and they're making good business that way. But then there's this science society that discovers what they're doing and comes for their time machine. So they kind of all get together and talk about whether or not this truly is dangerous or not. And then like a rift in space kind of opens up, and it all kind of goes off from there. What will happen though? Well, for that you gotta watch the movie and find out. All right, so let's discuss this film. Well, with this one, it's a British sci-fi comedy, and it is certainly not the stereotypical British comedy that you might think of. With this one, it reminds me a lot more of a TV show called Portlandia, where it's more about kind of just being not silly, but like kind of ignorant of the fact of how silly you might appear to other people. And that's kind of, how it kind of just rolls along. And these women don't really understand, is time travel actually dangerous? Is it really kind of meaningful to go back in time and get this stuff? And they're like using the time travel just on silly stuff as well. Like they get takeout from this restaurant that closed down 3 years ago, so they always just go back and get takeout and then bring it back to the present to eat. And just kind of funny things like that. I would say it is certainly subjective comedy, where if you're not, a fan of that Portlandia style comedy, you're not going to like this one. Even myself, like I like Portlandia, but with this one, I found the comedy just to be like kind of more subdued than anything else. And that certainly, affects, how it goes along. But for the most part, I gotta say I enjoyed what I was watching with this one. I would say it's cute and unique, I think, are probably the best ways to describe this one. Just the cuteness of them running this secondhand shop and being time travelers and getting stuff from the past. I don't know, I just kind of found that idea to be, a clever idea. And then how it's all, done with these two kind of idiots, working this time machine is actually pretty cute. So I just found it to be, a cute little watch that you can certainly enjoy. And as for the overall story, I thought it was a pretty cute movie overall. There is certainly like many things that happen that make it more of a layered kind of story to go along with. For example, one person turns into a 16-year-old due to, time travel mishaps. And that was just kind of a funny little segment as well. So they have a lot of little different things that go into it that make the story for one that you can certainly go along with. And the whole way you're just thinking, what a cute little quirky story this is. Furthermore, there is some CGI in this one, and I gotta say it's done really well. Certainly when they're traveling through time, they travel through like this vortex thing, and it's pretty good looking. They have this rift in time that kind of opens up, and that's good looking as well. And then they go to this kind of reality in between different times, and that I thought was really also well realized. And so that kind of works into it all to be pretty good. So there's lots of things that go into just the visuals that you're seeing. Certainly the filming is good and stuff like that, but the CGI I think adds that extra touch on it that makes it for a little bit more of an enjoyable film as well. And with this movie, I thought all the acting was actually really good as well. So I enjoyed that, just to see these, idiots go through this time machine and stuff like that. And then all the scientists are kind of not idiots, but I want to say oblivious to their silliness. And so they're all acting quite well. So that certainly, gets you into it and makes you really want to find out what happens to these characters. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this one. Well, the biggest thing I would say is kind of that comedy aspect to it, where it's really just them being oblivious to their own silliness. And I would say if you're not into that, it becomes a dull movie. Like myself, I didn't like laugh out loud particularly at any one time. I think I actually laughed once in this whole thing, but I'm just smiling to myself when they do these silly things. And that does make it for kind of a duller movie if you're not into that comedy, or if you're not in the headspace for that comedy. And so that certainly, I would say, is probably going to be the biggest kind of downturn for this one. I also think with the story, like, it's not very consequential at all. So there's no real kind of stakes ever, except for, maybe a friendship here or there. But, it's a low stakes time travel movie with this little quirky kind of vibe to it. And it, works for what it is. It's just what it is might not be for everyone. As for a recommendation, I would say sure, like, it's a cute movie, a quirky movie to watch. It's fun certainly as well. So if you want to have a kind of a more laid back, relaxed movie experience, this is one you can press play on. As for a rating, well, with the CGI, I think it bumps it up to a 5.6, which is better than average, but not above average, if that makes sense. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.